Well, I was really relying on you for
I
that.
used to be smarter, and then I had children. So
You have to give up part of your IQ to give it to me?
uh, it, I tried,
Just a
but
tiny
I'm
little
not
bit?
sure. I'm not sure what happened at the transfer portion. Uh, Hello, welcome back to Bourbon Theory. I'm Bill.
And I'm Josh. And today we've got an old dusty, appearing nearly to be a hazmat bourbon here. We're sitting at
Very
136 proof.
So this is a September 2016 release of Elijah Craig Barrel Proof. This was the last of the old style bottles before they went to the new bottling and the new labeling. So this is also doesn't have the exact age statement on it. They do note on the back about being 12 years old. However, you can't. That's not a guarantee of what it is, but it's widely believed that it's at least 12 years old. Really, Elijah Craig didn't start putting a true age statement on until I believe it's 2019 that they started really giving you the years and months on that. But the other thing with these older bottlings is that there's some cork problems with them, and I'm going to show you what happens with that right now.
You might even be able to see it on the camera.
Probably won't. There is a little piece of cork floating down here, but this is what happens. One, it comes unglued from the plastic cap, and it's a bit wider of a mouth. Now, luckily, you can get a hold of it like this. Sometimes you got to get a pair of pliers to do it. It's a natural cork. It's a large cork,
very large cork.
But you just got to be careful with these. And we'll show you in a future video what happens when a cork disintegrates and how you can get around that. But for now, let's pour it. So to Josh's point, this one is approaching hazmat. 140 and above is hazmat. What's considered that in the community.
And this is the highest proof bourbon I will have ever drank. Right here live on camera.
If he makes it through it. We'll see.
Oh, I'll power through. I think I might, before we do anything, I'll give it a nose, and I'm putting water in it for sure.
And this is a great time to point out too that bourbon should always be stored standing up. Don't let your cork get wet, okay? Because the cork's just natural cork in particular can't stand up to the proof, the alcohol proof of bourbon. It'll attack it. So wine, absolutely, laying down. Champagne, laying down because it's a wine. But definitely not with bourbon. Do you want to have it laying down? Okay.
Now, this is a technical question here, but especially in these higher proofs, the ethanol content, and just like when you pour it, we can smell it. Does any of that ethanol that sits in the bottle with that air,
I'm sure
do anything to that cork?
It would have it could, yeah, it could have it. I'm not a scientist.
Well, I was really relying on you for that.
I used to be smarter, and then I had children. So
you have to give up part of your IQ to give it to me?
I tried,
just
but
a tiny
I'm
little
not
bit.
sure. I'm not sure what happened at the transfer portion. But until you turned 21, I was the stupidest man in the world, and all of a sudden, I started to get smarter in your eyes. I don't understand how that happened.
You know, he says this, but none of that was ever true. I might have fought back, but I knew at the end he was always right.
As I see in the memes nowadays, it's like I always thought my parents were smart. It's just I didn't like their tone. But anyway, I know you're going to want that, so I'll pass the limestone water over to you.
That is such a good nose.
They're absolutely outstanding bourbons.
And honestly,
and by the way, this is a Heaven Hill product. So yes,
I think you were correct.
Yeah, this is a Heaven Hill product.
Yeah.
So it's been a while for me. I haven't.
This smells so good. See, now that I'm closer to it, I'm not getting that ethanol, and that's weird because you think you pick it up more. But as it was sitting here, I could smell the ethanol. I mean, this smells like a blondie.
What's that?
Like a cookie brownie, I think.
Oh, okay.
Or it's like the vanilla and chocolate brownie.
I don't do a lot of sweets.
Together. There's the ethanol.
Yeah, you got to swirl it around and get stirred up.
Yeah.
And the color.
That
color is
fantastic.
Man.
God, the nose is just, I mean, it genuinely smells like a blondie. It smells like right before you take a bite of a blondie.
So it's got some grain, right?
Yes,
it's
definitely
got like
some
bread.
Grain. Definitely bready. Almost
don't know the mash bill on it.
I don't know, maybe not even bready. It's almost like a floury.
Well, the bready flour, yeah.
Yeah.
So,
not finished product bread. Man, that is. All right, I'm gonna give it. My first sip is gonna be no additives. I'm a little afraid. I'm gonna be honest.
Good luck.
I don't want the water. That's really good. That is really good. That is very hot for me, but that is really good. I'm sure I'm beet red at this point.
A little bit, but not, you're really not as red as you were with the 107. When we reviewed the 107
Maybe that's the jump.
Hey, Nanobots, put that one in the on the screen.
So far in succession today, we have reviewed a Bankers Club 5-year, Weller 107, Weller Antique 107, this Redwood Empire Pipe Dream Cask Strength
at 116.8,
and then we're jumping to 136 here. So we're about 20 points in proof, jumping up.
And if you haven't seen our intro video, we talk about both of us being
fans of
partial to high proof. So you can always put a little water in it, and proof it down. You cannot ever bring the proof up. So
I might put just a tiny bit for my last sip and see if it does anything. Actually, thank you for putting it back. This is very good.
But what do you pick up?
I think I need to take another sip before I can tell you exactly what I pick up.
The thing is, it's a bit overwhelming.
A little bit.
To be able to get there. And that's where the water will come in and help you a little bit. To open it up.
I'm going to take a tiny little sip on this next one, see if I can get what I think I'm getting. And then if I'm not, I'll put just a drop in there if I can.
But it's a coating. I mean, it's a full, not just the tongue, it's the whole mouth.
My entire mouth is coated. And I did not put this on my cheeks. I put it underneath my tongue, over top, and then swallowed, and that is it. And it is, I taste it on my cheeks.
And man, it is, look at how it hangs on that side of the glass.
Mine left a little bit of almost like a water line when I took my drink. That's crazy. Man.
Good job to the father of bourbon, Elijah Craig.
Right? Absolutely.
So Josh is going to get to see the Elijah Craig experience here coming up in October. We're taking him on the bourbon trail.
First time.
He and his fiancee Megan. We're going to take him on the.
I was so excited. Trail. I planned the entire thing in 2 days.
He has got it down to the wire.
And then had to go back and redo it because distilleries, you have stupid hours. Why are you not open on Monday and Tuesday half the time? I get you got to produce, but at least let your gift shop and tasting rooms be open.
So if you are a North Carolina, Tennessee, or Kentucky state trooper, please give us a pass. We may be in a bit of a hurry to get there, so.
Going in for number 2?
Yes.
That second sip was way easier. We're getting oak.
Yes,
that's the prevalent thing I'm picking, but it's a good oakiness.
Getting pepper.
Yep. The spice is definitely not
nutmeg,
baking.
Smoky, paprika.
I'm gonna go ahead and put my drop. I'm gonna do this a little differently.
You might want to add it. Yeah, maybe that would be better. I was going to say either add some bourbon or that's a good idea. We got to get the eyedroppers.
Yes, we do.
You take care of that. You're in town.
I can do that.
I live out here in the sticks.
Okay, after the water, picking up more oak on the nose. And this could be my inexperienced palate, but oak is the biggest thing I'm getting and almost the only thing I'm getting. There's that hint of spice. Definitely, I'm not sure if I'm getting any savory spices like nutmeg or anything like that. Or sorry, I'm not getting any baking spices like nutmeg or anything like that. I definitely do get a black pepper note, and that's more on the finish than anything else.
Yeah, it's definitely on the finish.
And but it's strange because this traditionally would not be something that would be like I would seek out this bottle and want to buy it, because I think I prefer things on the sweeter side. So we just reviewed the Redwood Empire down there, and that had a very grainy, corny sweetness to it, and I really enjoyed it. But I think this is almost to the same level as far as my enjoyment on it. So,
well, the bad news on this is you're not
gonna
going to find a bottle of this except for on my shelf.
Yeah.
Most likely.
So what we got is in this bottle and maybe one or two more?
Maybe a few more than that. But the good news is that this, well, good and bad news. So the following year, the second release of this, the May release.
Is that Bourbon of the Year?
B517 was Bourbon of the Year.
Bourbon of the Year.
That was the new bottling, and it was Bourbon of the Year, which I hate when that happens, because then it makes it hard to find and the price goes up. So
now, I'm sure the Bourbon of the Year judges are very strict. Do you think anything of the new bottling had to do with it?
I would hope not.
Because I'm a little biased when I see things like that. I think, oh, they rebranded a little bit here. Now they got the, how different is this from last year? That kind of thing.
I think it's got to be judged on merits. I hope it's got to be judged on the merits of the juice itself.
Yeah.
But yeah.
And you'd think in the bourbon industry it's a little more honest.
Yes, I would hope that that's the case. I've told you many times in the stores, don't let the pretty bottle get in your eyes.
Oh, absolutely.
Because you're almost always going to be disappointed by the pretty bottle. Now,
a few exceptions.
Old Fitzgerald decanter bottles, no. Those are pretty bottles, and they're not going to disappoint you.
A nice spearmint note on them.
Yes. But the 517 was great. Now, before it ever got nominated, I was like, "Ooh, this is really good." And my theory: when you find something you like, go deep.
Buy as many as you can get,
and you do it before the price goes up. So
let's talk about that for just a little second. So I think I've mentioned this in some other videos or in videos you might see in the future. Is people kind of look down on that, but how many? If you're buying extra bottles, you're buying 6 to 12 outside of when you find something, nothing more than that. Now, a lot of people, I think, look at that and say, well, how dare you buy so many bottles? Now we can't get any. But let's be honest. These huge distilleries like Elijah Craig are putting out so much of the exact same product that if there is a scarcity, like there was a natural disaster or a fire in a rick house, something bad happened. So if you go out there and you buy yourself a case, you're not stealing anything away from the next person who's coming in.
And so here's my view on it. One, if it's sitting on the shelf, it's fair, right? So I will generally not clear a shelf. I have cleared the shelf, and I'll do it again if it's something that I want and I think the price is fair and it's something that I don't already have a lot of sitting on the shelf. So, or it's not something that I know I can go somewhere else and buy in quantity. So as an example, yesterday, as we were doing some bourbon hunting, taking Josh out to some ABC stores, we ran across Buffalo Trace in 3 of the 4 stores we were in.
One of them had
and we ran across shelf. Henry McKenna 10-year bottled in bond in 2 of the stores we were in. And I passed on it in all of them because I have it sitting on my shelf. And I prefer to leave that there for someone who's been searching for it, been looking for it. I've already got it. I don't need more of it. And if I go to Tennessee, I can pick up, I'll go into stores and there will be cases of it sitting there. And the store owners are happy to sell me a case. And I can buy store picks. That
in particular, I think makes a lot of sense.
That I can buy, that I can taste,
that you enjoy,
and I can pick, and I can buy a case of it if that's what I want.
Buy as many as they limit you to.
Yeah. So, or as many as your wallet limits you to. So, That's the way that I see it, and that's what I will do. So be responsible in what you do. Be responsible as you drink, and
But if you find something you like, enjoy it.
So if it's particularly if it's a store pick, if it's a store pick, you're going to be limited to how often you can get that. Especially if you're out of town. For me, if I'm hunting out of town, I'm hunting out of state. Look, if you're a deer hunter, think about that like a trophy buck. You're going to get one shot at that. Take the shot. If it's the buck you want, take the shot. If it's the bottle you want, if it's the profile you want, shoot your shot. Okay, and go for it. Now, could that possibly knock me out of it? Sure. Good for you. Okay, but also take the opportunity to share. I've got several neighbors here, and
they have a cult, is what I call it.
That's what my kids call it. It's not, but we're good neighbors, and we watch out for each other, and we get together once a week, and we have a dinner once a week, and we all share wine, and we share bourbon, and we share stories, and we share food, and we do different things, but we're all there for each other. So that's what we do, but that's the thing. Great bourbon was made for sharing.
Yeah,
great wine was made for sharing.
It's not something to keep to yourself. There's something to be said about moving back a few centuries in time. Is about guest right, is offering what you have to your guests.
Yeah, people say don't drink alone. I say they're wrong. If nobody else is around, go ahead.
But if you have the opportunity to share,
drink in moderation, absolutely. So,
this is
good.
Mm-hmm.
I knew it was good.
I almost feel like the little bit of water made it worse, which is usually the opposite.
It's hard to say that 2 drops of water would make it worse.
I know, but I think something about that proof point is really what makes it stand out. And then killing is I didn't have as much left in the glass, and I put 2 drops in it, so that we might have gone down 10 proof points with those 2.
Yeah, you did not have much.
I did not have much.
Would you like to try some more and then put?
I think we're gonna save this. I think we might do this in a blind or something like that.
Okay.
Save every ounce we have.
I was just testing him. No, I think this was really good. I feel like we kind of shortchanged you on tastings and really giving you some things. But it's an overall. This is really an overall bourbon that it's hard to discern a lot of tasting notes from. And I'm not going to just throw some things out to you. I'm not going to look up something on the internet and tell you what somebody else said. That's not us.
No,
we're not going to do things like that. So this is just what our palates pick up today. Do this again in a blind, we may pick up something else.
Yeah, and even if we didn't have too much to say, because I think if we had to summarize it real quick, oak spice. Certainly oak. That's the number one thing I get. Definitely a black pepper. And there is just a tiny touch of sweetness, nothing that I can place for certain. But for me, it's almost like a line down the middle of my tongue, stayed sweet. And then the oak and spice kind of melded around it. So, and it definitely that full mouth on the cheeks, everywhere, in the gum, fully encompassing everything.
It's an overall, fully encompassing. Great.
Yeah.
Great term. This is
a special bottle.
Yes. So A, B, C, D, E, F, schoolhouse ratings. Well, E's not in the schoolhouse, but
it is.
I guess it's not on ours either. But
it is so much out of my comfort zone. This is weird. This is an A. This is a really, really, really good bottle.
I am shocked.
This is a fantastic bottle.
I have never heard him even get close.
Honestly, every other thing we've reviewed so far, if it was oaky and spicy, it was a C to a low B. Something about the proof in this, and that because it's oaky, but it's oak sugary, so it still has that sweetness. It's not harsh, it's not tanniny or anything like that. So it really gives me a fantastic overall feeling, and there's something about that entire mouth covering that really makes it special. So, and I've never had that in any bourbon I've tried, and I've tried a fair amount of bourbon. Not nearly as much as you have, but a fair amount for somebody this early into my journey. And that's an A. That is a solid A.
Well, it's probably bad luck to toast to an empty glass, but
I've got a drop or two left in
here's
there.
to an A. For me, it's a B plus.
Fantastic bourbon, though.
Yes, it is.
Fantastic bourbon.
Try it.
Absolutely.
If it's sitting on your bar and you haven't tried it in a while, pull it out, give it a try.
Thank you guys so much for watching. Excuse my stumbling of words there. If you guys have ever had this or still have it sitting around, let us know. If you think that another release, an older or a newer release is even better than this, perhaps the bourbon of the year from the year previous, let us know. If you got some, maybe tell us where we can find it.
And you'll see several others of these. There are several of these on the shelf.
Elijah Craig is one of your favorite distilleries, correct?
Yes.
Top 5?
Yes.
Yeah. So we've got a fair bit of EC hanging
and
around.
I've got a lot of the different ones. I do not have the 140.2 proof
Real hazmat.
I do not have that one, but I do have several of these.
Yeah.
And I do have several of the bourbon of the year.
Because I look forward to trying more of their stuff, because the only thing I've tried before is their just base release, which is a 90-ish proofer.
And 94.
Yeah, nothing terribly special about it, a good bourbon.
Yeah.
And then their toasted barrel, which is nice, but again, nothing overly amazing about it. So having this be there, I'm interested to see how it's grown and changed.
And you're beginning to see some single barrels, some store-picked single barrels coming out.
We saw quite a few in the few stores we were at.
Which is telling me, and I'm beginning to see this, that the shortage is getting better. I think we're seeing that maybe coming to an end.
Bubble popping, perhaps.
So yeah, I think that's getting there. Expect to see some other videos on Elijah Craig, maybe some side by sides.
Yeah.
We'll have to see how many of those we could do at one time. That's a lot of proof.
Especially with these 136
Yeah,
level.
None of them are low proof.
Definitely not.
So,
but very approachable for that high proof.
Yes.
So,
but anyway, thanks for being with us again.
Leave us a comment, leave us a like, subscribe if you enjoyed this. We would greatly appreciate it, more than you know.
Yeah, but yeah, comments are best.
Absolutely.
We'd like to hear from you.
We want to hear from you. We want to talk to you guys. We want to get to know what our community wants and what our community likes.
Yes. Thanks again.
Take care of yourselves.